When it comes to military symbolism, few images carry as much weight as a submarine silently patrolling international waters. Submarines have long represented stealth, power, and prestige. But sometimes, even the most advanced vessels encounter unexpected setbacks, and when these events occur in sensitive regions, the political ripple effects can be dramatic. Recent reports of a Russian submarine experiencing technical issues in an area near NATO waters have drawn global attention. The incident, whether minor or major, raises questions not only about the state of Russia's naval capabilities but also about the broader message it sends in the middle of heightened geopolitical tensions. Russia's naval fleet has always been a cornerstone of its military image. The ability to deploy submarines, especially those capable of carrying advanced weaponry, has been central to its strategic posture since the Cold War. Yet maintaining such a fleet requires extensive resources, technical expertise, and modern equipment. Observers have noted that years of sanctions, economic challenges, and a focus on land warfare in Ukraine may have strained Russia's ability to keep every part of its navy operating smoothly. Against this backdrop, the breakdown of a submarine in such a visible region has symbolic weight that extends far beyond the technical malfunction itself. To understand the significance, it's important to place this event in a broader context. Submarines are not simply machines, they represent deterrence, secrecy, and strength. For NATO members, the sight of a Russian submarine encountering difficulties near their territory is a reminder that no navy is immune from mechanical realities. For Russia, however, the optics are more complicated. The country has invested heavily in projecting the image of military reliability, and any failure undermines that narrative. Analysts point out that perception is as important as reality in international politics. Even if the submarine's problem was minor, the story has fueled debates about Russia's overall capacity to maintain its fleet under current conditions. Technological maintenance is a constant challenge for any advanced military power. Submarines, in particular, require continuous upgrades, specialized parts, and highly trained crews. Western navies have faced similar issues in the past, with vessels occasionally sidelined for repairs or refits. The difference here lies in timing and visibility. Russia is already under intense scrutiny due to the conflict in Ukraine, economic sanctions, and growing isolation from Western markets. As such, every mishap becomes magnified, interpreted not only as an accident but as a potential symbol of deeper systemic weakness. Observers in NATO countries have reacted with a mix of seriousness and caution. On one hand, the breakdown reduces immediate risks, since a malfunctioning submarine poses no threat. On the other hand, it raises questions about safety protocols. Submarine incidents in the past, such as the Kursk disaster in 2000, have left lasting scars in Russian memory. Safety concerns remain a critical issue whenever such a vessel experiences technical problems. International navies carefully monitor these developments, not only for intelligence purposes but also out of concern for maritime safety. For Russia, the situation adds to a growing narrative of challenges. The war in Ukraine has already revealed weaknesses in logistics and planning. Now, the naval domain, once seen as relatively stable, faces scrutiny as well. Commentators suggest that Russia's ambitious global image is increasingly at odds with the reality of its strained resources. The submarine incident, while not catastrophic, reinforces the perception of vulnerability. For President Putin, who has built his leadership on the image of strength and control, these kinds of episodes complicate the story he seeks to project to both domestic and international audiences. Domestically, Russian state media often downplays such mishaps, framing them as temporary or insignificant. Yet in the age of digital communication, stories spread quickly, and international reporting cannot be fully contained. Russians who follow independent outlets or foreign media may interpret the breakdown as another sign of stress on the country's armed forces. This adds to a subtle but growing sense of fatigue among citizens who are already experiencing inflation, shortages, and the social impact of ongoing mobilizations. From NATO's perspective, the incident is both a reassurance and a warning. It reassures allies that Russia's military power, though formidable, is not limitless. At the same time, it warns that technical failures in such sensitive equipment can have unpredictable consequences. A submarine breakdown in or near NATO's backyard is not just a political embarrassment for Moscow, it could also pose risks of environmental harm, unplanned rescue operations, or heightened tensions if misinterpreted. Thus, NATO observers remain vigilant, studying every detail, but also careful not to escalate unnecessarily. The symbolism of humiliation is not lost on commentators. Military prestige has always been closely tied to political authority in Russia. When equipment falters, especially in visible ways, it reflects poorly on leadership. While a single submarine malfunction does not define a navy, it becomes part of a larger mosaic of events that shape perception. Each incident contributes to the growing impression that Russia's military machine, once feared as invincible, is experiencing cracks under pressure. The global community interprets these developments within the framework of the Ukraine war. Since the invasion, Russia has sought to demonstrate resilience in the face of Western opposition. Every successful test, drill, or deployment is highlighted as proof of strength. But every setback tells the opposite story. The breakdown of a submarine near NATO waters may seem like a technical note, but in the theater of geopolitics, it plays like a symbolic act, a reminder that Russia's reach has limits. Looking at the bigger picture, the event reflects the strain of maintaining great power status in the modern era. Military power is not just about building weapons, it is about sustaining them over time, training crews, ensuring supply chains, and integrating new technologies. Sanctions have restricted Russia's access to certain parts and technologies. Experts argue that, over time, this makes it harder to maintain high-tech military assets, especially submarines that require constant precision. This context adds weight to the breakdown, transforming it from an isolated technical issue into a broader narrative about sustainability. For viewers, it is worth remembering that history is filled with examples of great powers struggling with maintenance and logistics. The United States, the United Kingdom, and other NATO members have faced naval mishaps that spark political debate. What makes Russia's situation stand out is the combination of timing, secrecy, and pressure. In moments of geopolitical rivalry, even small accidents can be amplified into symbols of weakness or decline. As the story unfolds, the world will continue to watch Russia's naval activities closely. Will the submarine return to service quickly, demonstrating resilience? Or will the incident fuel further doubts about Moscow's naval readiness? Much depends on how Russia handles the narrative. Transparency could soften criticism, but secrecy may only increase speculation. In the information age, silence is rarely effective. Ultimately, this episode underscores the intersection of technology, politics, and perception. A breakdown in NATO's backyard is more than a technical event, it is a stage where narratives of strength and weakness are contested. For President Putin, the challenge lies in convincing both his citizens and the international community that Russia remains strong. Yet each visible failure, no matter how small, makes that task harder. The submarine incident, like the war itself, is a reminder that modern power is fragile. Machines break down, strategies falter, and in a world where perception drives policy, every crack in the fatal Section 8 becomes a story of its own. Whether this breakdown is remembered as a minor mishap or a symbol of broader decline will depend on what follows. But for now, it has become part of the growing chorus of challenges confronting Moscow, leaving observers across the globe to wonder what comes next. Text